I'm Jake.
I'm Tom.
And we are VIMTV, Velocities in Music, the best kept secret in music reviews. We got a request. It actually came in a couple sets ago from a guy named Thomas, who has written to us and is a big fan of VIMTV. So, Thomas, thank you for the request. This is Starflyer 59. This is a throwback from 1998. The album title is called The Fashion Focus, which is really an interesting album title. Starflyer 59, how would you describe this band? Kind of ex-shoegaze, kind of indie rock in the 90s was a very different indie rock than in the 2000s.
Definitely good point.
Yeah, so this is actually like, I'm not quite sure where this is in the band's discography. It's early on. I think it's like their third or fourth album. And it's for the band and the research I've done, because I've actually never listened to Starflyer 59 before, and I'm really excited to because this is a cool band. But this is actually a quieter album than their earlier work. And it's more of a, they started embracing moods on this album. And this is actually where you start to see the shoegaze element of the rock that they're in, and the atmosphere that they're creating on some of these tracks. You start to see that play less of a role in the dominance of Starflyer 59's sound here. So it's kind of a new take and kind of threw fans for a loop. But one thing I gotta say is this is just a moody record.
Yeah.
And it's something that I was able to really enjoy just from that standpoint. How about you, Tom?
I totally agree. The mood is everything here because the way everything's produced. It's washy, but there's still a lot of presence.
Absolutely.
And I like that. But another thing that makes it that way is the vocals, which I just want to tackle right now. Because the vocals is like while the guitars are great, lots of good instrumentation, the vocals are probably the most enigmatic and interesting part.
Yeah.
Because I feel like the way the melodies are written and the way the songs set up the vocals to be, you'd expect it to be something more like kind of a flamboyant type of like Morrissey from the Smiths kind of performance.
Which the two big influences here are Loveless and The Queen Is Dead, you know?
I get a lot of those. Loveless, especially in the guitars, but Queen Is Dead and some of the songwriting and some of the lyrics too. Yeah. I mean, the lyrics to like I Drive a Lot. He's talking about, making lots of money. He's being kind of kind of sarcastic about that. And card games and old friends. Card games and old friends. But he's performing it. He's performing these lyrics that sound sound like they're supposed to be energetic and flamboyant. He's performing them so lethargically. Right. It sounds more like Joy Division, something kind of depressing.
And I totally understand now where Bradford Cox of Atlas Sound and Deer Hunter, where he got his influence for how he presents his vocals. This guy sounds drugged out. He sounds lackadaisical, lazy, and he's just slathering over and slobbering really all over these tracks, and it really adds kind of a different element to it. It adds to like this depressing kind of moodiness that the album presents, and it really works with kind of the electric guitars and like just that really just original organic rock sound that this band has.
Yeah, it really is interesting because I actually pick up on a lot of kind of British sounds in here. I even heard some stuff that reminded me of like the Doves, but this was like really before the Doves were big and around. So it's interesting the timing of this album when you look at it in context of some of the things that it sounds like and some of the things that had come out by that time. I'm actually surprised that this isn't a more talked about album.
Right.
I'm shocked that I'd never really heard of this band. I have to admit it because I really like this album. There's lots of cool stuff going on, lots of cool kind of references in the sound to other bands, but they still definitely make it their own. Right. I think this was a really strong album.
And if you like really rock music with an edge that also has, really big lead guitar melodies that where there's a lot of good, like lead guitar melodies, but also a lot of lead guitar atmosphere. This is a really good album for you to dive into because it, as Tom said, it kind of set the stage for the next few years. And there's only a couple other bands doing this type of thing at this time. So this is a really kind of ahead of its time album, I think. So it's a really fun throwback listen. I would definitely recommend going back and jumping into this one. Kind of other bands that it reminds me of have with that acid kind of acid rock sound. Built the Spill, Modest Mouse. A lot of bands, big name bands that I think that Starflyer 59 actually holds its own with. So that was really interesting. Overall, I felt like, Tom, that there were some really, really, really strong tracks here. And I see that we picked, the two biggest rockers that kind of relied more on that shoegaze. Track 2, We're the Ordinary, and track 11, Too Much Fun. Both kind of the heaviest, moodiest, most disgusting, just tracks on the album, and sadly, I think that this is not the direction that the band was moving in. So I feel like we felt like those were kind of the standout tracks, and like some of the other more melodic or upbeat tracks even didn't quite capture as much emotion. So that was one thing that for me I would have liked to have seen more of that. But I think that's more just a personal bias and opinion. Yeah. But overall, I think that this album could have moved me a little bit more. It could have packed more of a punch at times. Still a very high quality listen. I'm actually going to go a little bit higher than what I thought I was, Tom. I'm going to meet you and go 79.
All right, 79. That's what I'm giving it to.
Cool. So 79, really solid album. Definitely recommended. And I think that another thing we should mention too is the more I listen to this album, the more I seem to enjoy it. So I think that this has a lot of intricacies to it that as you uncover it, we listen to this probably 4, 5, 6 times in there, somewhere in there. And as you uncover each listen, you uncover new things of how Starflyer 59 approaches their sound. And you can pull new things out of it that brings you back to it more and more and more. And that's a really rewarding quality of any album. Shows a lot of well-written instrumentation. Overall, loving it. Guys, check it out. Leave us a comment at www.velocitiesandmusic.com or youtube.com/velocitiesandmusic. Thank you, Thomas, for the request. Guys, please follow us on Twitter. Like us on Facebook, because that's where we do all of our talking with our fans. And you guys are what makes VIMTV what it is today. I'm Jake.
I'm Tom.
And we are VIMTV, moving music critique forward.
Sundown.